Good evening. You'll hear me? Happy All Hallows Eve. Hey, Slasher. Chris, how you doing, buddy? Hams. Thank you for being here. So this is kind of a last minute stream. I came up with the thought of doing a Halloween Eve stream. Very short notice. Although I did have a lot of ideas, I didn't have the time to put them to make them happen. So if this goes well, I think next year I'd like to do something a little more involved. But tonight I thought we would watch a Christian scare documentary called The Pagan Invasion, Halloween Trick or Treat. So that should be fun. And I do have a couple unboxings I wanted to do. So hopefully we can do those. Maybe I'll do a couple before we watch the documentary, and then maybe one or two after we watch the documentary. My Topo Chico. I got my little Starburst thingies. They're already discounting Halloween candy. Oh, 2 oranges. That's stupid. Orange is my least favorite Starburst. Two pinks. Pink is my favorite Starburst. So I'll give it a couple minutes before we start the video. See if anybody else is gonna hop on. Topo Chico is delicious, dude. It changed my life, truly. I just hate how expensive it is. I wish I could buy it in bulk. Just get like 100 bottles. Because that's like, what, 12 bucks for a 12 pack? I do love my Topo Chico though. I also picked up, I think I've had this before, Nitro Vanilla Pepsi. I think I had this and I didn't like it, but I thought I'd try it again. I might have had the regular one, I don't know. You tried Kit Kat Ghost Toast, it's good. It's like CTC candy form. No, I haven't. I've seen it. I'll probably seek it out. I mean, they had tons of Halloween candy at CVS down the street from me still, and they had like all the mini ones with it. Actually, they had like full bars too. I think were on sale, and they had some other one too. I didn't really look to see what it was, but it looked like it was a different Kit Kat, like a Halloween themed one. Yeah, I don't know if you're watching Piz's video today, but those Kit Kats I sent him, the pink lemonade ones, I bought those back in like July. I sent those so long ago. All that stuff. Well, I sent it late, which is why he didn't open it until this stream. But I felt bad. Jeremy seemed to get a kick out of the stuff though, so. Yeah, what does it taste like? Is it like French toast or something? Hey, Ben. Yeah, no, I'm sure the shelf life is solid. Pink lemonade isn't really a fall flavor. Yeah, Ben, I was just saying that Halloween candy like near me is like already half off. And they don't even have anything Halloween out anymore at like the CVS down the street. They've already like just shoved it all into a corner. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Wow. Okay. And that I can get behind. That sounds cool. Well, I don't want to... White chocolate even gives it the milky aspect. Interesting. Well, I think we'll get started soon because I tried to plan these streams when like no one else is streaming because I hate to like step on people's toes. And I did want to go to the Flesh Wound stream later. I think I'm going to be watching like vintage commercials. Well, those guys are always streaming, so it's tough. But I do want to go to that. I think that's at 9, so. But real quick, I picked this guy up today at yesterday at Walmart. If you've seen those like Friday the 13th, like 3D art things they had, well, they have a Creep Show one now. So I thought this guy was cool. It's like $25. You can see his hand coming out there, holding the ticket. It's a Creep Show on the side, on the top. So I thought that guy was cool. Because I hadn't really seen any new stuff in like the bleeding, I almost said bleeding skull, in the bloody disgusting section. But I thought this guy was cool. Let me know if you guys have seen that. I went to a bunch of stores like Lowe's and Michael's, and they moved all the Halloween to one shelf, and it's pretty much all Xmas now. Couldn't even wait till 2 days until Halloween was done. I know, it's crazy. I was actually, even when I was at Walmart, when I mentioned I just bought that thing, there was like nothing. Like everything was, I don't know if it was 50% off. I think it was like 30% off all the Halloween stuff. You can't schedule around Flesh Wound. They are always on. It's impossible. I know, it truly is. I feel so bad. I don't know. They also have a Krampus on a shelf. Interesting. This is just like a 3D art piece, Ben. There's nothing in it. It's like that Friday the 13th one. Let me grab it. If you remember this one, same thing. And then I saw this was on clearance, Treehouse of Horror Simpsons, like one of those blind boxes. So you can get Homer, Mr. Burns, Two-Headed, Bart Vampire, Homer, Jack in the Box, King Kong Homer, Marge, Bride of Frankenstein, Krusty Doll, Bart is the Raven. Wait, is that Homer, King Kong, or? Oh, it's Homer Godzilla and then Homer King Kong. So I thought we'd open this real quick. See what we get. Everyone is streaming tonight? Yeah, That's kind of why I wanted to do it last night, but I had something come up like last minute. I actually had like food poisoning too the night before. Actually, I don't know if it was food poisoning, but I was hurting pretty bad. Alright, let's see what we got. Nice and crinkly for the microphone. Oh, we got Marge. Marge, Bride of Frankenstein. That's cool. I mean, they're all cool. This is the one I least wanted. But that's okay. Her arms move too, so that's kind of cool. I might have to go back and get another one of these. They were only $10. I have a Krampus on a shelf I got from Barnes & Noble. Interesting. Are you asking about the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror things slasher? I got this at Walmart, and it was on clearance for $10. And I had never, well, it wasn't in the clearance aisle. It was with the like Bloody Disgusting stuff and all those figures and whatever. But I had never seen it before. And I guess this is series 2, so I guess they've had more of these. I don't know. I might have to get another one. My girlfriend, like, Bride is always cool, yeah. My girlfriend's, like, obsessed with blind boxes, and she can kind of... She has a sixth sense for picking what's inside of them, but it's tough when they're in a box like that. And then I also picked up the Ring 4K. Walmart exclusive. This is cool because it's like a VHS. Steelbook, obviously. I don't think the Steelbook is a VHS, though. No, it just says 7 days. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. Haven't watched the US version of The Ring in a very long time. Walmart also has a Snoop on a Stoop shirt. That's cool. I haven't really looked at the clothes this year too much. So I got a couple other things I want to unbox. A couple Vinegar Syndrome pickups and a vinyl. But maybe we can do that after. You don't do that whole way thing to find the good ones. I don't know what I'm doing. My girlfriend knows how to pick them, but I have no idea. I just grab them. She also works at like a comic shop, so they sell all those figures, so she's around them all day, so she kind of knows what's what. She's got tons, like those Sunny Angel things. She has probably 100 of those. I'm gonna try this real quick. Whoa! Holy crap! This thing is like ready to burst. Jeez. Oh, I remember why I don't like this now. I remember why I don't like this. Yeah. It just tastes like flat Pepsi. That's why I don't like it. I need the bubbles. That's why I like mineral water so much. I don't get the nitro thing. Yeah, that was a waste of $2. That's okay. Yeah, I don't like that. Tiny bubbles. All right. Well, I guess we'll get started. As I mentioned, we're watching Pagan Invasion, Halloween Trick or Treat, which was a Christian kind of a scare. What was it called? Like a scare film from the 1991. I haven't seen this, but I'm familiar with the series. And so it's going to tell us about the evils of Halloween. And maybe you'll change your tune about celebrating tomorrow. I know I will. So let me go over here.
Think Grinder will win. He's strong.
Oh, we got Dancing Pumpkin again. Not again. Hold on. Let me change this to Pagan Invasion.
The Pagan Invasion is an explosive
Propaganda.
new 13-part video series providing a...
Let me turn this down. I'm sorry. Let me know if the volume's good. I think it should be good right around here.
thorough behind-the-scenes examination of today's New Age movement and neo-pagan revival. Each superbly produced volume features rare footage from around the world, along with expert analysis by noted Christian leaders and authors. For more
This
information,
intro is
contact
fire.
your
I have
local
seen this
Christian
intro,
bookstore
though.
or call 1-800.
It's like some Kingsfield shit,
2290.
like PS1.
California residents call 1-800-633-0869.
Heard in the 80s you found a lot of severed goat heads in kids' candy. I heard that too. You gotta bring that back.
They want your grandchildren, and what you're seeing on the screen during the seminar is designed to help protect you and to protect your children.
This intro goes hard, though. I will give them that. And this is like primo dungeon synth. I don't know if y'all are familiar with dungeon synth, but like, holy crap, this would set my stereo on fire. Man. I kind of want to just sample this and like do something with it. This is a banger song. Pagan Invasion, like, this looks like it would be a sweet, like, DOS game. Pagan Invasion, like some RPG. What a letdown. All that wasted potential. Sounds like the end of Labyrinth, yeah. There we go. Yeah! This is metal as fuck, dude. I'm on board with whatever this is. Why they gotta make it look so cool? What is that? What is that? Karate's evil? They're making this look like a lot of fun. Halloween, trick or treat.
Hello, I'm Chuck Smith.
And I'm Carol Matriciana. Welcome to this edition of The Pagan Invasion.
Let me know if y'all can hear that.
Halloween is a festival that conjures up images of ghosts, skeletons, black cats, witches on broomsticks, and little costumed children scurrying about the neighborhood.
Trick or treat! Oh my goodness! Hi there. This is all my candy. And who are you? Vampire. Dracula's wife.
While there are some people who may be concerned about the origins of Halloween and its focus on blood, death, horror, and the occult, to millions of youngsters across the nation, it has been adopted as a time to pursue scary fun. It is an opportunity to dress up in ghoulish
Why does he
or
have the
fanciful
voice of an AI
costumes,
bot?
to engage in the fantasy of being a witch or a vampire, ghost, or devil. Eager trick-or-treaters solicit candy door to door or bob for apples at Halloween parties. Others brave haunted houses and horror movie marathons, while the more daring visit cemeteries at midnight, play with Ouija boards, and hold seances in an effort to contact spirits of the dead.
Cool.
One of the biggest promoters of Halloween is the public school system. School-sponsored Halloween-themed activities often include dances, costume contests, carnivals, and arts and crafts projects. Education
we gotta go to
officials
Christian
admit
private
that more
school.
effort is usually put into the celebration of Halloween than any other holiday, including Christmas and Easter.
Is the stimulation of a child's sense of fun and fear all there is to Halloween? Or is there more? For many entrepreneurs, Halloween is big business,
I don't know,
a major
Celestia,
promotional
what
event
movie that
used to
was.
bring in billions of dollars worth of revenue. In addition to the usual costumes of cartoon characters for children, a growing number of outlets are featuring more macabre and sinister creations for purchase. This one well-known department store chain will sell more than $500 million worth of Halloween paraphernalia this year. And that doesn't include revenue from the sales of trick-or-treat candy. Costume shops such as this one are able to stay in business year-round as a result of the tremendous sales and rentals they receive during the Halloween rush. Farmers also view Halloween with an eye toward making big profits. Pumpkins are a traditional Halloween accessory used by households nationwide as jack-o'-lantern decorations. This one Southern California field of only 164 acres will yield nearly $250,000 to its owner.
Halloween is manipulated by the promoters of horror movies and videos as a major marketing opportunity. While horror films used
Snake people
to be synonymous with B-movies and considered the conventional low-budget industry.
Blood Feast, Nude on the Moon, that's oh my god, what's her name? Doris Wishman.
Standby. Today they account for nearly 20% of all of the revenue received by feature film producers and distributors. The success of the technical revolution in special effects has attracted serious film directors to produce well-crafted, elaborate horror productions.
Nightmare on Elm Street 5, well-crafted,
to the Video Software Dealers Association exhibition in Las Vegas showed that the two biggest selling artistic genres were pornography and horror. Hollywood is continuing to capitalize on society's growing craving for the occult and demonic. The irony is that while these producers label such films as fun and make-believe, many of them hire practicing witches or Satanists as technical advisors who ensure
I gotta
continuing to capitalize.
I'm so distracted by the sweet-ass box art. I didn't hear what he said. But I think he said that satanic priests are... I think he's saying that the executive producers are satanic priests. Hold on.
Exhibition in Las Vegas showed that the two biggest selling artistic genres were pornography and horror.
Hell yeah.
Hollywood is continuing to capitalize on society's growing craving for the occult and demonic. The irony is that while these producers label such films as fun and make-believe, many of them hire practicing witches or Satanists as technical advisors who ensure the authentic reproductions and performances of rituals, sacrifices, spells, and curses.
People like are so hyper during the day, they need to come home and watch something that's like totally unreal so they can release themselves from all the pressures. It's just the type of thing that makes you laugh and forget about life.
Over the last 2 decades, most horror films have become far more graphic in their depictions of violence and cruelty.
He's easing us into it by saying that they consult real witches and satanic priests to make sure that the rituals are authentic.
Movies affectionately known as splatter films routinely detail torture and dismembering of bodies, drinking of blood, cannibalism, rape, and a host of other grotesque atrocities.
Well, we think it's pretty fun. A lot of people just like it because it's fun, it's wacko, it's not real, and so it's just the type of thing that people like to watch because you don't have to think reality when you watch it.
When it comes to gore or splatter or any other particular genres, the justification lies in our Constitution. I don't feel anybody has the right to tell me what I can or cannot watch.
Right on.
Most of these films receive R ratings, which mean that children under 17 cannot view the film or rent the video without the accompaniment of an adult. Yet this precaution is seldom enforced, for 15 is the average age of those who see these films. While many producers claim that these gruesome spectaculars are merely fun and not dangerous to the psyche of our youth, many of the scenarios from the horror films are duplicated in copycat crimes which make for sensational headlines.
Yeah, sensation.
Glenn Hobbs was initiated into a satanic coven as a child by his grandfather and continued participating for many years. I recently asked Glenn about his involvement and the importance of Halloween to the occultist.
Well, my involvement in satanic worship was, I was involved in it as a child. Of course, I was a generational Satanist, what they call a generational Satanist, and what that means is that my family was involved in it and their family before them. Now, my earliest rememberings of Halloween and some of the things that were involved was, it was a very dark time for me as a child. It was something that I didn't enjoy.
Glenn, could you tell us about your involvement in any rituals at Halloween as a child?
There was another little girl that was involved in the occult with me, and her name was Becky. Now, Becky was a different type of child. She was blessed to be a sacrifice. I was being blessed to be a high priest, where she was being blessed and born into the coven there to be a sacrifice. Now, we were in a ritual where we were married together. It was a marriage to the beast, and me and the little girl were married together, and there was a lot of sexual abuse that took place and a lot of blood that was spilt over us, joining us together.
When do Halloween rituals actually begin, and what is the ultimate purpose of Halloween?
Well, the ritual that I remember the most clearly began about the end of September. Me and the little girl, the one I mentioned named Becky, the abuse was very concentrated at that time. We were taken into several rooms where our clothing was removed. We spent the next couple of weeks in a kind of a shack where a lot of rituals went on, where a lot of animals were killed. They summoned Lucifer and his spirit.
They summoned, that's a big get. Lucifer? That's a big get.
Possess me, and so that I would be blessed to take over the position of the high priest at a certain point in time. now Halloween night. They had again put me and the little girl in the back of this van, and we again drove off, which seemed like for a long time. We were drugged once again, and we finally came to this stop. They took the little girl out and they left me in the van. I could hear a lot of commotion that was going on outside. People that were screaming and yelling and this low murmuring and moaning noise that was going on, like some kind of a low chanting noise that was going on. So I knew in my mind there was some type of a ritual going on because I'd heard that many times before. You know, it was real common to see people fall on the ground and convulse and go into convulsions during rituals and stuff with the demonic presence that were around. And finally, a woman came to the back of the van and she said, "It's time to go." And she brought me out of the van, and I could see that there was just a lot of people around. Some were dressed in dark brownish kind of robes with hoods over them. They took me up and they led me up to this stone altar. And I remember I saw the little girl, and she was on the altar. Now at first, you know, I just wondered what was going on because you never knew. I mean, they used the altar for a lot of different things. They could have just been sacrificing an animal over, could have been a sexual abuse from the high priest on to her. You know, it was a hard thing to know for sure. Well, they ushered me up to the altar, and I could see that they had bound her feet. They had her feet spread apart, her legs, and they had bound them to the ends of the altar, and they had taken her arms, which were laying out this way, and roped them to the altar, which had little kind of like hooks, which they could bind the ropes around. And she was really white. I remember seeing her, and she was just real pale and real white. And I noticed that they had slit the bottoms of her feet and her wrists. And they were taking the blood that was running out of those areas and putting them into chalices and passing those cups around to different people who were partaking of her blood. Then the high priest, he took the athami, or the ritual knife, and he picked it up and he put my hand on it, and then he forced it into her chest. So when I think back on Halloween, you know, over that period of time that happened, you know, that was the climax event, Halloween night, where they killed that innocent little girl. And this is something that's happening every Halloween.
They need to make moisture-wicking activewear.
I mean, there are children all over the world who are losing their lives during Halloween night, and yet we, as a society, we go out and celebrate it, and we go door to door and we ask for candy, and it's a big celebration to us. And I think it's quite ironic how one group of people are thinking it's fun and another group of people are taking human life, and yet they don't, you know, there seems to be this wall and nobody wants to face the facts of what's really going on.
It doesn't matter what you
Today, reports from all over the world show a growing concern over the mushrooming attraction towards the occult. Heinous.
Okay, now obviously there's nothing funny about the stuff he was talking about, but I do think he might be making that up.
Crimes connected with the occult, according to police, are reaching
Fitchburg. I know where Fitchburg is. Fitchburg, Mass. The alleged leader of a devil-worshipping cult was found guilty of first-degree murder Friday in the ritual killing of a young Fall River, Mass. participant. I don't know what this is. Last year. That's hard to read. That's right in my backyard. I remember when I was a kid, I had this Christian friend, and I don't have anything against Christians. I have a problem with fear-mongering and hypocrites and all and stuff like that. But I had this Christian friend who would come over, and I grew up in the woods, in New England, so it's about as spooky as you can get. And he used to tell me that there were devil worshippers and witches that used to, basically all the satanic panic stuff. Then they used to do stuff like that in the woods where I grew up. And he was like freaked out, and he was like, "Oh my God, I don't want to go out." And I used to hang out in the woods all the time, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I was like, "Let's go find him." But yeah, a lot of devil worship in New England apparently. All right.
Proportions. Halloween is the time when community service organizations warn that children and animals are most likely to be abducted. To truly understand the significance of Halloween and its role in this mayhem, we must go back to its historic roots. What you are looking at are actual rituals and spells being performed by practicing witches and druids throughout America and Europe. These are not actors or reenactments, they are real.
Most of Halloween's customs are the remainders of pagan superstition relating to Samhain, the Druidic New Year.
One local neighborhood urban legend here was that Satanists sacrificed livestock in the field across from my house. Hell yeah. I think everything he said was a lie except for the summoning Lucifer part. Yeah. I mean, that guy knows what he's talking about, so I wouldn't put it back. I mean, I think they got the draw for Satan.
The Druids were the influential priests, magicians, and sorcerers of the nature religions that prevailed in early northern Europe. These native beliefs permeated Celtic culture for about 2,000 years, up until the introduction of Christianity. Today, a revival of the practices of Druidism, along with various forms of witchcraft and nature worship, are sweeping across Europe and North America.
The Druid orders are full of people from all walks of life, from soap opera stars to doctors and lawyers, dentists and toilet cleaners.
Archdruid.
Anybody can be a druid.
I'm standing on Primrose Hill, which is one of the sacred sites in London. And it was here that the Druid Order was inaugurated in its last, most recent cycle in 1717, when a number of Druids from Wales and Scotland and Ireland and Brittany and England came together, and it is here that some of the ceremonies are held.
Samhain was seen as a time when the dividing line between the dead and the living was at its thinnest. Consequently, contact with spirit beings was thought to be easiest. Samhain was also one of the major fire festivals of the Celts. At this time, the Druidic priesthood led the people in diabolical worship ceremonies in which they would sacrifice animals and humans in ritual killings.
Human sacrifice has absolutely no place in the modern tradition. Just because we see a pagan revival doesn't mean that we wish to go back to barbarism of any sort. So
just immediately contradict themselves.
It's a bit of a red herring. It's not something we like to talk about.
The name for Druids is believed to come from the Greek word drus, meaning oak. Druids usually select groves of oaks for their ceremonies and use the leaves in their sacred rites.
The work of the Druids consists in reuniting us with the world of nature externally and internally with that stream of ancient wisdom and knowledge.
About this?
Sharing the Druidic tradition of nature worship is witchcraft. The title witch is from the Saxon word wicca, meaning the one who practices sorcery. The Oxford
they haven't really said anything like too egregiously
bent,
wrong.
or warped. Despite
everything they
attempts
said is
from
pretty
modern
much
Wiccans
accurate.
To sanitize the original intention of witchcraft, its practice cannot be divorced from demonology.
O guardians of the watchtower of the east, I, Ishtar, high priestess and witch, do summon and stir thee. I command thy presence at this our meeting, to guard over our circle and to witness our rights. So mote it be.
So mote it be.
My mother was a witch, and my grandmother
Why didn't
was
he mention the devil meter burning goat heads?
And I have
because he's
been
a phony.
Witch for as long as I can remember.
Loser! You're a loser!
Since I have been practicing the craft, there has been a great revival.
I believe there's about 1 million people in England alone that practice witchcraft. The pagans are all over the place with their covens. If they're not...
I'm sorry, I don't know why I think that's so funny. Witch/martial arts expert. I want to put that on my resume. Witch/martial arts expert.
Calling themselves witches alone. They are paganistic in their ways.
There are probably now as many people practicing witchcraft in Britain as there are committed Christians.
I regard myself as a natural witch. I was regarding myself as a witch since early childhood.
I don't know, Piz. They haven't really...
I was brought up in a very isolated part of the country.
I think I want to go to hell.
On the Welsh border, which has a long tradition of magic and Welsh sorcerers. It's almost as if there's a kind of grassroots feeling back towards paganism. We live in a kind of post-Christian era almost, and that people are moving towards a kind of neo-paganism, I suppose.
We learn as practicing witches to tap into forces of nature and to actually, if you like, send out a spell or an incantation or an invocation in a very powerful way.
It's in many ways to bring you back to nature, to bring oneself back to nature, and to learn how we fit in with the natural scheme of the universe and the natural scheme of the earth, and understanding what we need to do to heal the planet.
I still don't understand, like, how are they going to spin this into something negative? It all sounds pretty great.
Druids and witches are dedicated to today's ecology movement.
We have a number of initiatives which include planting groves of sacred trees and a campaign for individual ecological responsibility.
So what's the problem? Why
is concerned with showing how each of us can become ecologically responsible.
I think the time is coming now where we have to take the responsibility by the throat and actually get out there and say, there are answers here.
Bring Roger back.
I'm not prepared as a pagan, as a priest, and as a practicing witch to sit back and see my planet, my mother, raped any longer.
Goats, oh, answer unto me.
Halloween is often confused as a Christian holiday because of its association with Christian All Saints' Day or the Eve of St. Hallows, All Souls' Day. In fact, the original Christian dedication used to be celebrated in May and was intended to honour those Christians who died for their faith. But by the 9th century, the influential Roman Catholic Church changed the holiday to November, and the Protestant Church soon followed. Today, a thin Christian veil attempts to disguise an ancient pagan festival of the dead, which has become not only a secular observance, but notorious as the most favoured holy day of witches, sorcerers, and devil
you missed all the good stuff. You missed Roger.
I can't really say when I became interested in Wicca, because it's always been part of me, part of my roots.
New Hampshire?
I love Halloween. I think I'm a very autumn person. We dress up the house with cobwebs and so on, and we cast a circle. And we have a smoky cauldron, and we all scry, which means do clairvoyance, into the smoke which comes out of the cauldron. And we open the gates of the underworld. And if any spirits want to come forward and speak, we listen to them.
My first initiation, when I became first degree, was on Halloween. And I felt very, very much in tune with the god.
The ancient Druids worshipped Baal, one of the most powerful of all the demon kings.
Hey, Swaggy.
In the list of Enochian demons, Baal is said to be a king, which is of the power of the East. Eastern religions
supposed to be getting scared,
that
but I'm
spiritual power comes from meditation. The common denominator between Druids, witches, and Satanists is the practice of meditation for the purpose of making contact with the spirits of the dead or disembodied souls.
You do a lot of meditation with the arts,
These guys have
you get
a
onto
whole...
this higher plane, it becomes less physical and more mental.
These guys have a whole, by the way, the Pagan Invasion has a whole episode on meditation and how it's evil.
Mental.
It takes years of painstaking study, meditational work, finding your higher mind, being able to actually tap into the forces of nature and use those.
I have, on occasion, touched upon, I suppose you could call them spirit guides. People describe them in different way. I am aware of a hierarchy of spiritual advisors who live on another plane of consciousness that you can approach, that will acknowledge you and advise you and assist you.
We have what we call
they haven't got to Thorn yet.
There are other names for them. They are
I don't know why.
Beings, that's the easy thing to call them, which can be people who have lived on the earth, or they can be God forms.
They become almost as real as the people standing next to you. And whoever else you call doesn't actually materialize. You can't see them in the physical sense, but mentally you know that they are there. You can see them in your mind's eye.
They represent really forces in the universe. Forces that are like gravity or wind, but they're forces that have to do with our internal makeup and make our minds work in the way that they work.
Margaret Adler, practicing witch and author of Drawing Down the Moon, warns that the trance state, with its roots in ancient shamanism and paganism, is not to be entered into lightly or when alone.
Too hardcore for these lightweights.
For the spirit to be contacted actually enters the witch's body, using it to deliver a verbal message.
There's a possibility if you don't cast a circle,
Witch Queen of Germany
come into the room could take over
That's a big get too.
Possession. We had one example here where one young woman, a nurse, was possessed by, I don't know what it was, but a horrible voice came through her and she passed out.
While occult procedures in their rituals may vary in intensity, the fact is that witches, as well as Satanists, commemorate Halloween night with the same fervent dedication to invoke spirits for personal power.
This isn't very Halloween.
Queen of heaven, queen of hell, horned hunter of the night, lend your power unto our spell, and work our will by magic right.
Intermission time?
Glenn, you've now been a Christian for some time. What is your reaction when you see Halloween celebrated by people?
Whenever Halloween time starts coming around,
he's back.
About the 1st of October, you go into the stores, you see the costumes, you see the mother with her little girl putting the witch's hat on her, and the little boy getting excited about getting the devil mask, and you see the candy, you see the Halloween pumpkins, you see people decorating their houses with skeletons and all these symbols of death. You know, it only serves to bring back horrifying memories to me.
Is a hand signal
memories
given
of
among
death,
members of the
memories
occult.
of children being so abused, so ripped of everything, their character, all in the name of Satan. If a person could really stop,
Loser! You're a loser!
the next time they go into that store and realize that there are children
big phony!
who are going to lose their life because people are taking this a step further. There are people out there who don't just celebrate Halloween with trick-or-treat candy. This is a religious holiday to them. This is something that is holy and sacred, and they are taking innocent human life. I can't say, go ahead and have Halloween fun. It doesn't matter if you're participating in Halloween, even if you're not a Satanist, you know, if it's just for fun. No, because these Satanists are using this as a smokescreen.
Glenn, you said that Halloween is a religion of Satan. What do you think when you see churches and Christians celebrating Halloween?
It makes me sick that the Church of Jesus Christ would take on this horrible demonic thing that is happening in our world. Christians should be the ones who are standing up against this. Christians should be the one who are saying these terrible things are happening and we want to stand against this. Churches should not be having these Halloween parties at all. They should be coming together as brothers and sisters in Christ, binding together and coming against these dark forces, praying for these children that God will spare their lives, that somehow God will intervene and save these children.
This guy needs to chill.
Whether the public chooses to believe in the frightening growth of Satanism or not, the fact is that a highly organized network of Satanists are operating in America and Europe today. They seem to be respectable members of society and are integrated into all professions and walks of life. We go now to a special report from noted author Hal Lindsey, who is on location at a site known to be used for satanic rituals.
I know that name. I think he was like a major part of the Satanic Panic movement.
We came out to a place in the hills east of Los Angeles, to a location that has been identified in the past with ritual worship and, we believe, Satanism. Frequently, this site has been discovered with candles that had been used in ritual.
Yeah, sorry guys, I gotta look this up real quick. I believe he wrote... He's an American evangelical writer and television host. He wrote a series of popular apocalyptic books. 1980s Countdown to Armageddon. He believed that the Battle of Armageddon could occur in the not too distant future. I don't know. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I know that name. Yeah, he was a big part of the Satanic Panic.
And you can look at some of the artifacts we found here today. Upside down crosses that were put around, bones that are scattered around here, and various satanic symbols, but also something disturbing in the light of what we'll be talking about in the future, and that is the diaper of a very, very, very small baby.
I'm sorry, what? You said the diaper?
Talking about in the future, and that is the diaper of a very, very small baby.
Okay.
You know, I believe that this country is experiencing a pagan invasion.
Whoa, he said it, guys. He said the thing.
Including a new upsurge of practice of witchcraft, the New Age, and as we will talk about today, outright Satanism. Around the middle of the 1960s, there was a dramatic upsurge in satanic worship, beginning with Anton LaVey and his writing of the Satanic Bible and the founding of the Church of Satan in San Francisco in 1966. I watched as this accelerated, not just in the West Coast, but around the country. When Charles Manson and his gang in 1969 committed the horrible, brutal crime at Sharon Tate's home, this was done in connection with all of the paraphernalia of Satan worship. This started a whole avalanche of satanic crimes. We've seen serial murders. We have watched as one after another has been brought to light. Many murders where satanic symbols have been discovered, the pentagram, 666, and all sorts of things of this nature were done. But more distressing, we have found all over the country reports that there are animals that have been mutilated in a very skillful and specific style that shows that they were ritually offered as sacrifices. There are now confirmed cases where there have been girls that have been used as breeders, and their infant children have been sacrificed to Satan. Halloween seems to be the high holy day for the Satanist and the occultist. Halloween is the time when all across the country, in secret little places, in the dark, there will be little babies sacrificed to Satan. You don't believe it? I know it's hard to believe myself. But there has been such an acceleration of worship of Satan that we believe that these sorts of things are happening, and we have evidence that they are.
I'm sure you do.
Satanism exists in this country as it exists elsewhere. It is appallingly evil. It is about murder. It is about child abuse. It's not
about any of those things.
Sexual abuse. It is no joke and must be taken seriously and must be dealt with.
If they can ritually abuse children, if they can in any way sexually abuse children, anything to destroy a child's innocence or their trust or their wonder at the world,
Satanists.
They will do it.
The most tragic stories that I've ever heard are where a child has told people what's been happening, and the adults have said, "Don't be stupid. That doesn't happen in this country. You're making up stories. You're lying."
The problem we're coming across is that the higher officials in these public organizations do not want to acknowledge that this is occurring. We need to lift that veil of misunderstanding and saying, hey, this is a crime to be dealt with. It's the crime of the 90s. It's not going away.
Satanists want to recruit. We know that it's been going
You want proof that Satanists exist? Follow the diapers.
on for many years. This is not new, but their arrogance and their outwardness about the way they recruit is becoming unbelievable.
Sometimes they'll simply suck them in through the local high schools, sex and drug parties.
We have an epidemic of young people participating in some strata of Satanism. Now, that doesn't mean that they're all out sacrificing.
Swaggy, does that make him more
beings,
or less?
But they may very well be doing the rituals that involve mutilation of animals. One fire department individual told me all of the woods around our area have these types of rituals going on.
It is believed that if you kill an animal, that exerts a tremendous amount of energy that the people there can sort of vampirize on, and so animals would be slain. And this is especially true on the high holidays like Beltane and Samhain, Halloween and May Eve.
There's something.
That's not true. There is Santeria, where they sacrifice animals in their Ungaga. But that's not this.
About sacrifice. If you do it once, you want to do it all the time. Once you've actually passed the barrier of sacrificing an animal, you get this sort of bloodlust where you really want to do it. And I really wanted to do it.
Well, maybe you just are a sick fuck. I don't know. Sounds like a you problem.
This lady in a black robe came forward with this little baby. And at first I didn't realize it was a real baby. And she just laid it on the altar. It was breathing, but it wasn't crying.
How boring do you think these people's, inner lives are? On a scale of 1 to 10.
And then the high priest just took the athame, or the ceremonial dagger, and just cut the baby's throat and caught the blood in a chalice. At that point, I was staggering, reeling. I thought I was just going to throw up. I just couldn't believe it. But by then, I
didn't do anything, but, I didn't stop it.
I was so scared that I just stood there. And then when I was led forward, I thought, this is it. It's your turn. They're going to kill you. And I was lifted up onto the altar. Now, I at that time was still in white. It was part of a sacrifice known as the sacrifice of the White Virgin. And the same blood that had come from the baby was daubed all over my body. Then the high priest raped me.
Whoa.
And I think at that moment, I was just, the fact I was still alive went through my mind. I thought, you're still alive. I then had to sign in blood a parchment stating that I would never, ever reveal what had happened in a coven. If I did, I would die.
Are human beings being sacrificed?
Well, didn't you just reveal it?
Yes, they are. There's a lot of things that I would look for to make a determination on a ritualistic crime. It could be marks that are found at the scene. It may be things like a pentagram. It may be an upside-down cross. It could be, again, the number 666. It could be a loss of blood in the body, certain parts removed in a certain manner. Their victims, some were targeted for specific reasons. One, because they wouldn't join. Two, because they did join and they want to drop out. Some of their victims are themselves. They voluntarily do it.
In many satanic groups, a mother will be asked to sacrifice her own child to Satan, and she may even, in fact, be ritually impregnated to do that. She may even specifically have been impregnated, and then when the child is born, they never register the child as being born, and they kill it in a very horrible way, and sometimes the mother herself is actually asked to do it.
Stop it.
Some of you may not even believe what you've just seen. You may believe that this is just something that's aberrational and that it just doesn't reach the mainstream of America.
But wait till you see
But
this.
just think about some of the headlines we've had recently. The case in Matamoros, where a group in Mexico were practicing human sacrifice, where they kidnapped and actually sacrificed several innocent young people. And think about the Night Stalker case here in Los Angeles, with Ramirez brazenly flashing the satanic symbol and saying, "Hail Satan," and holding up his palm with a pentagram in it. And yet
Ramirez was severely mentally ill.
Ramirez was convicted of some of the most brutal crimes that we've ever seen in this civilized society. One case where he caused the woman to say, "Hail Satan," while he was raping and sodomizing her alongside of her husband, whom he had already murdered.
And if you celebrate Halloween, you're basically Richard Ramirez. So, sorry to break it to you guys.
These are things that were done as a result, I believe, of getting involved in Satanism.
The real Satanists, the hardcore Satanists, are involved in criminal activity, and for that reason they are going to try and look as normal as possible, the better to be able to deceive you. They're doctors, they're lawyers, they're teachers, they're oftentimes people who are in positions of great influence.
I want to see
over
the dirty
small children.
diaper. Give me the dirty diaper.
In a recent letter to syndicated advice columnist Ann Landers, a concerned parent wrote of a fourth-grade teacher who had asked her students to write a short essay on what they would most like to do to celebrate Halloween. 80% of her 9-year-olds expressed the wish to kill somebody. It is easy to see how Halloween's ambiance can promote an unhealthy desire for violence.
All of today's seemingly innocent Halloween customs and symbols have their origins in the ancient Celtic Day of the Dead.
Village of the Damned?
For example, the practice of trick or treat is from Celtic tradition, where people gave food in return for blessings from spirits of the dead. Failure to supply treats would result in demonic retaliation.
Yes, Spog, that is legit. I remember that story, that whole, that was kind of what I was talking about with the Ungaga. That was Santeria they were practicing, and not like the Sublime song.
Jack-o'-lanterns grew out of the Celtic tradition of carving the faces of demonic spirits on turnips and later on pumpkins. The World Book Encyclopedia says the apparently harmless lighted pumpkin face of the jack-o'-lantern is actually an ancient symbol of a damned soul. Candlelit pumpkins, or skulls, at a home signified that the occupants were sympathetic to Satan and would therefore receive mercy by spirits and trick-or-treaters on their Halloween rounds. Perhaps the most sickening of all Druidic New Year practices were the human sacrifices which occurred at midnight. Adults and children alike would be thrown into huge fires while the celebrants danced around them in demonic fits of abandon. By morning's light, only ashes and bones would remain. These were called bone fires, which is where we get the tradition of bonfires today. The Druids believed that black cats were reincarnations of the evil dead and were possessed with supernatural power and knowledge. Bobbing for apples was part of the Druidic New Year sexual divination ceremony of fertility. The broomstick and witches' hats were originally considered phallic symbols. When used in the rituals of witchcraft, these objects supposedly transform the sexual energy released during orgasm into psychic energy. By understanding the pagan origins of Halloween, we can no longer claim ignorance. As parents, we are called to a sense of responsibility and must decide whether to allow our children to participate in occultic celebrations which glorify the powers of darkness.
Deuteronomy chapter 18 spells out...
Wow, what a... Talk about a... Not a loaded question, but well, I guess if you want to let your kids practice in the occult dark arts, then fine, celebrate Halloween, I don't know, but, you know, it's up to you.
As parents, we are called to a sense of responsibility and must decide whether to allow our children to participate in occultic celebrations which glorify the powers of darkness.
Deuteronomy chapter 18 spells out God's position concerning man's participation in divination, sorcery, or communicating with the dead.
Fits of abandon.
Verse 12 states that whoever does these things is detestable to the Lord.
My new band,
by participating in the customs of Halloween, whether in fun or ignorance, we are continuing in practices which have been consecrated to Satan. People who love the Lord should stand for separation from these things and not compromise. Christians can gather together at Halloween and use the night to educate themselves to the dangers of paganism and to take the opportunity to pray and wage spiritual warfare against the powers of darkness in their
Demonic Fits
community.
of Abandon by Devil Diaper.
It can be combined with a time of worship, praise, and thanksgiving to our Heavenly Father for victory over Satan, death, and hell. Many of the people appearing on this program got involved in the occult because of a desire for divine-like power. The source of occult power is Satan. It is deceptive, exploitive, and will eventually fail to deliver on its promises. And there is always a hidden and heavy price to pay.
Which is solved, yeah. No, that is legit. The broomstick thing is legit. Well, that's the thing, right? Like, pretty much everything that they said is true. Well, okay, let me back way up. Everything they said about like the druids and stuff, and like the broomsticks, and like a lot of that is true. But where they go off the rails is with all the like just outlandish, insane baby ritual diaper eating shit. Like, I don't know. They just, because like everything they're talking about with like the druids and stuff, it's like, yeah, that sounds cool. I mean, that's what's so wrong with that. So they have to include this, just this like crazy shit to make it sound bad, because otherwise it's like, what's the point? What are you even doing?
If you don't know God, but would like to experience His life-changing power, then recognize that Jesus Christ wants to be the Lord and Savior of your life. If you accept the fact that His death and resurrection is payment in full for all of your sins, you will have everlasting life. Within all of us, there is a
I want to see the dirty diaper.
Throughout the ages, man has attempted to fill that void with the things of the world. But it is only through a relationship with our Creator that we can be truly
Give me the dirty diaper.
His Holy Scriptures reveal the way in which we can be reconciled to God, and that is through the provisions of His Son, Jesus Christ. I'm Chuck Smith.
Whoa, that is... I just realized that... I just noticed that green screen. That's cool as hell. Get me one of those.
For another edition of The Pagan Invasion.
That song is such a banger.
The Pagan Invasion is an explosive new 13-part video series providing a thorough behind-the-scenes examination of today's New Age movement and neo-pagan revival. Each superbly produced volume features rare footage from around the world.
Do you think that phone number still works? I want that look for my videos. That's what I'm saying. That's cool as hell. Should we try calling that phone number? If they produce a Dirty Devil diaper, I just can't believe he promised the Dirty Devil diaper. I feel bamboozled. All right, let's see. I'm going to try calling this 800 number. 828-2290.
Please hold while I try to connect you.
I think it's after hours.
Your call has been forwarded to the voicemail for Joshua Matroshiana. No one is available to take your call.
Joshua Matroshiana. Probably some law office. Well, that comes in Pagan Invasion Volume 2. No, dude, there's 13 parts. I do have a quick unboxing I want to do, but first... oh, here it is. I got all 13 parts of the Pagan Invasion. We have Halloween Trick or Treat, which I thought was going to be more... It wasn't really what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be more like less druids, more, razor blades and apples. That's what I always say. Less druids, more razor blades and apples. Pagan Invasion 2 is Invasion of the Godmen. I don't know what that's supposed to be. Pagan Invasion 3, Meditation, Pathway to Deception. The East Seduces the West. Dawning of the New Age. Evolution, Hoax of the Century. Evolution from Physics to Metaphysics. Preview of the Antichrist. That sounds cool. Secrets of Mind Control. The Latter-day Empire. Temple of Doom. Religion versus Christianity. And then part 13, Doorways to Satan. So maybe we can watch another one of these one night. Maybe that dirty diaper will rear its ugly head. I got a whole folder full of Christian propaganda. Aggressively Christian. Biblical numbers of 9/11. I think this is a music video. Oh God. Oh, this looks cool. Okay, this is loud as hell. I didn't realize I was playing it, but this looks cool. Dude, we're gonna learn mind control. I'm down to learn some mind control. Secrets of mind control? Right on. We can do that. Let's do a little Halloween music video. Oh. Ah! Sorry. Please hold. The Witch's Initiation, I think this is called.
One peaceful afternoon, I picked up from my mailbox the strangest looking letter I'd ever seen. A chilling little envelope bordered with flying bats and eerie serpents whose eyes were tinted green. Now, the letter was addressed to me, so as I opened it, I froze. What I read turned my complexion 3 shades of blue.
What I read to my complexion 3 shades of blue.
I'm a male witch, a warlock, and I feel I need to spend some time with you. Now, as a Christian from a little church with God's call on my life, a man of faith and power with a challenge to grow, I did what any saint would do in my situation. I tore it up, said, Lord, no way I'm gonna go. Then gently and methodically, the Holy Spirit spoke and reminded me we're God's voice to our nation. It's the church's responsibility to witness. So reluctantly, I accepted
Hell yeah.
Witch's invitation. He had the house you'd expect, the old English cottage, a Nightmare on Elm Street special right to the core. The overgrown ivy, the gate that creaked when opened. Somehow you'd expect Freddy to answer this door. The doorbell rang a hollow gong, the knob twisted then opened, and Isaac stood before me.
Is that Joe Piscopo? Yeah, this is Carmen.
His jet black hair and well-trimmed beard flowed with his black silk clothes. My skin crawled.
It does look like Joe Piscopo.
Please,
yeah, Carmen.
Come on in. His house was filled with every occultic symbol you could fathom. Hanging pentagrams and horoscope signs. A Ouija board and Dungeons and Dragons games set on the
Dungeons and Dragons games.
A crystal ball with an incandescent shine. Then graciously handed me some steaming herbal tea. Its presence caused my memory to jog. I thought of every horror flick I'd seen when I was a kid and thought, man, you drink this stuff, next day you be a frog. Then he led me to a high-back chair as he meticulously began to unfold his scenario with evil patience. I was given a giant leather-bound book jammed with newspaper clippings.
Man,
thus the reason for this witch's invitation. The reason for this newspaper clipping. I was given a giant leather-bound book. Newspaper.
Man dies of AIDS suddenly. Okay.
The reason for this witch's invitation.
Where in the world is Carmen now?
With eagerness,
that's a good question, actually.
Each article with pride. He said,
he's dead.
This woman through her Babylonian
he died February 2021
in
Las Vegas.
While performing druid worship. I was paid to curse this man with AIDS by his aunt. On and
what
on,
the fuck?
Page after page.
That's dark as fuck, dude.
Man with AIDS by his aunt. On and on, page after page. Delightfully, he flaunted each incident for an hour without a breath. He said, do you realize through my understanding of the dark regions that I can make you rich or even curse someone to death? I sat literally intimidated by his immensity and demon power. While his face shone with a satanic arrogant bliss.
Literally intimidated.
Then placing his hands on the arms of my chair and leaning into my face, he said, "What can your God do to compete with this?" I knew then how Moses felt when his rod turned to a serpent. And the
I hate when my rod turns to a serpent.
It's as if you're sitting there in that stunned moment where your faith gets
happens
violated,
to everybody,
and all you feel is weak, powerless, and lame. I desperately and deeply prayed, saying, "Jesus, give me wisdom. I don't want to put you through some foolish test." Then a shaft of light shot through my soul, igniting my eyes with fire. God stood me up, and I threw the book back in his chest. I said, "Isaac, I'll not compare God's miracles versus Satan's. The issue's not God's kingdom and Satan's lair. The real comparison is the condition of your soul and the condition of mine. And you puppet of the devil, that I will compare." I said, "My friend, one day they're coming for you. The soft associates in your incantations. The friendly demons you think you now control. The time will come when you'll be lying in bed, wheezing like a dying animal, when those spirits lay claim to the rights they own to your soul. Then the room will grow dark, and the most hideous evil faces you've ever seen will come flaming out of the floor with a yell. The vile informants that promised reincarnation will claw your spirit and victoriously drag your soul to hell." Then I grabbed the book and says, "In that moment, which mantra, which incantation are you gonna chant to tell them to leave you alone?" I said, "My friend, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt what I would say. I am bought with the blood of Jesus. Let me go." I said, "Isaac, when you tossed that book in my lap, you gloated with a sinister victory. You rejoiced when you saw your name in black and white. Now I rejoice, but not that your council of demons are subject to Jesus, but that my name is written in the Lamb's book of life." Then Isaac jumped up from his chair and screamed, "You must leave now!" I says, "I will, but one last obligation. Next time, think twice before you rumble with a man of God. And by the way, thanks for your witch's invitation."
Hell yeah. That was actually pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that was actually pretty cool. I thought it was kind of just a spoken word song, but I know he does like music, like songs and stuff. I guess it counts as rap. This guy who made a video about evil homosexuals, probably. Actually, yes. I can't remember the song, but yeah. They did feature. He was featured on Best of the Worst at one point. I think it was like his stand-up show or something. I think it was part of that stand-up show. So I'm going way too late, but I just want to do a quick unboxing here. Picked up a vinyl recently. Ugh. This guy was like all over my Instagram feed. So I caved and I bought 2 records. Isaac Rother and the Phantoms. This guy does like horror rock and roll. And The Terrifying Return of Isaac Rother and the Phantoms. I think this one... If I'm not mistaken, I think this one... Yeah, get off my donkey. If I'm not mistaken, I think this one's yellow. Yeah. So that's cool. And I believe the other one's just black. This guy's pretty good. It's fun. It's not, you know, not something I listen to every day, but it's a fun, like, Halloween. If you want some Halloween music, you can definitely do worse than this. So if you look up Isaac Rother and the Phantoms, some good Halloween music. And it came with signed lyric book. So that's cool. And then my Vinegar Syndrome stuff came today from the November drops, November releases. I did not get the Howling. Kind of wish I did, but I don't think it's going anywhere. Did anybody here get the Howling too? I picked up In Memoriam. This is the new Bleeding Skull release. It's like a Paranormal Activity. It's basically Paranormal Activity before Paranormal Activity. I've never seen it or heard of it. You own the Shout Blu-ray, so you passed. So I'm looking forward to this, and I'm going to do a video because now I have every single Bleeding Skull release they've ever put out, including all the VHSs and DVDs. So this is going to be cool to check out. Not yet, probably on sale later. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Then I got the Cult of Agfa trailer show. The sequel to Agfa Horror trailer show. Looking forward to this one. I might try and do like a watch along on this. I think I could get away with that. Maybe they'll sponsor you. Did I get the Bleeding Skull 7-inch vinyl? Yes, I did. I have all the Blonde... I mean, I have all their releases. So, that was the Blonde Death vinyl. I have the 7-inch Blonde Death vinyl. I have the LED Blonde Death VHS. I have the original Blonde Death VHS they put out. I have the DVD of Blonde Death, and I have the Blu-ray of Blonde Death. So, I have like 6 Blonde Death releases. And I also picked up The Tenant, which I have never seen, but I heard is a very, very good movie. And honestly, half the reason I picked it up was this box. So, it opens up like this. It's like magnetic. There's like a little pull tab here. Oh, wow. That's cool. Okay, so there's like this little tab here, and you pull the tab. I'll be careful. But you pull the tab and it pops it open. So that's cool. So inside. Yeah, that's cool. That is sick packaging. Like I said, that's half the reason I bought it. Little booklet. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to this. Very cool. Yeah, that 45 went super quick. I think it was limited to like, I don't even know, 100 or something like that. Well, thanks for hanging out on this Halloween Eve, or All Hallows Eve. Appreciate it. We learned. Actually, I don't really think I learned much of anything. I feel just fine celebrating Halloween. So I guess there's nothing stopping us from going out tomorrow and having a good Halloween. Gotta watch more Carmen. Yeah, well, maybe next time we'll watch some Carmen and learn how to do some mind control. Learn it's possible to master witchcraft and karate. Yeah. Hey, if you've got the fortitude, that's proof you can be anything you want. You want to be a witch, you can be a witch. You want to be a karate master, you can be a karate master. You don't have to pick one. Learn Lucifer knows how to party. Yeah. I mean, you're right. I wouldn't want to party with that guy, though. Alright, guys. I'm going to call it. Thank you very much for hanging out tonight. I really appreciate it. I'm hopefully going to do some more of these. I got to figure out how I'm going to schedule these, and I got some videos I want to do, but things are slowing down for me for the year, so I should have hopefully have some more free time. Hope everyone has a great Halloween diaper-free. Too bad he hangs out with a bunch of lamos, exactly. Alright, guys. Watch out for dirty diapers. Thanks, Swaggy, for coming on. Appreciate it, man. Alright, guys. I'm going to head over to Flesh Ruin's channel. They're doing, I'm going to go watch their stream. They're doing, like, vintage Halloween cartoons, I think. I don't know if they're still streaming. I imagine that they are. So I'm going to pop over there. So I'll probably see y'all there if you're going over there. Later, guys.